Hey everyone, so this is the third in my wee series of videos about kindness. So this one, have you ever heard of moral treatment? So it began, I think it was 1796, that an English Quaker by the name of William Tuke founded the retreat at York, or otherwise known as the York Retreat. And it was a place for people struggling with depression and other forms of mental illness, where they would come together and receive personalised treatments based on friendship and kindness and compassion and goodwill for others. And it was in response to the kind of brutal and inhumane asylums of that time, in the late 18th century, late 18th, early 19th century, that or thereabouts. You've seen them all in the old films, where people literally who are struggling with depression or other mental illnesses are locked up and they're treated appallingly. And I think one of his family members, it might have been his sister, but I forget, what had gone through such an experience. So he founded the York Retreat, and it was really as a response to that kind of thing. And so initially 30 people came to this place, this home in the countryside, and everyone was treated with kindness and compassion, and they were encouraged, and this was key part of what's called moral treatment. Everyone was encouraged to treat each other as family, to treat everyone, all other residents, with compassion and kindness and gentleness and respect. And so everything was based on the spirit of compassion and kindness. They all helped each other out. They were encouraged to live together as family and treat each other as such. So some people did all the cooking, some people tended the grounds, and other people cleaned, and they helped each other. They talked to each other about their problems and offered support for each other. And it was so successful that the success rate was phenomenal. In fact, so successful for at least the next 100 or so more years. It was the most successful treatment for depression. It's called moral treatment. In fact, it swept through Europe and right across the United States. And it was only really in the 20th century, about 100 or so years ago, when we began to discover the power of pharmaceutical drugs, that they began to replace moral treatment. And we over this last 100 years or so, we've kind of forgotten that the original and most powerful known treatment for depression and other mental illnesses was kindness, was compassion and gentleness and respect and loving each other. In fact, it was so successful in the early 20th century. Psychiatrists at that time were so blown away with the power of moral treatment. They actually said, and this was before we understood how feelings and thoughts and practices can literally change the brain, which we call neuroplasticity. Psychiatrists at that time said that the moral treatment must create what they called organic changes in brain matter. And that was their word for what we now call neuroplasticity, because we know from research that the feeling that kindness and compassion engender, those feelings associated with that, regularly felt, actually cause organic changes in brain matter. They literally cause structural changes in regions of the brain that are associated with happiness and the antidote to stress and releases of anxiety, these kind of things. So I think the moral of the story, because I know a lot of people have been kind of struggling over the last year more than the numbers we'd normally have with aspects of mental illness. And I think maybe the moral of the story is that if you're struggling in any way, reach out to others. Don't always wait for others to reach out to you, but reach out to other people, because it's because we're genetically wired this way. It's almost, I think, sometimes nature rewards us for being kind, and part of that reward is that we get a little boost to our own mental and also our physical health. So I think that maybe that's the moral of this story, is that if you want to feel better, then reach out and help others to feel better, and maybe that's nature's reward. So there you go, a wee spiel today on moral treatment, the long forgotten, most potent treatment prior to the modern day, most potent known treatment for mental illness. So there you go, wherever you are, enjoy the rest of your day and be kind, because it's almost always the right thing to do.